Hi, I'm Lisa Brennan, Lifestyle Director at Mountain Ridge Community Association. Thanks for coming out to our first ever Drive-Thru Fall Festival. While you were driving through, you probably received a cookie kit. I'm going to show you what's inside and how to decorate it. So the first thing that you're going to need before we get started is a pair of scissors, some napkins just to wipe off the tip. It could even be paper towels, and something to protect your surface. I have a piece of parchment paper, but you could use a piece of wax paper. Next, you're going to open up your kit. This was prepared by Smith-O-Later Cookies in downtown Mesa just for our event. Inside, you'll find a leaf and a pumpkin cookie, a spreader, and 2 colors of frosting. Before starting, make sure you carefully massage the frosting so that all of the components inside mix together. First, we're going to begin with the leaf. And if you choose to decorate it with a spreader, you can do that, or you can actually outline it and decorate it like a real cookie decorator. To get the icing started, once again, you're going to carefully massage it, and you're going to look at the very tip of the bag. There's a seam that runs down the bag to the point. You're going to use a pair of scissors to carefully cut off the minuscule tip part of the plastic to create the tip. It's better to cut smaller than bigger. You can always take a little more off, but if it's too much of a cut, a lot will come out at the same time. When decorating, you squeeze the upper part of the bag and press down. When decorating the cookie, remember to move the cookie instead of trying to reach around. So we're going to practice first, just so I can show you. When you are icing, you're going to squeeze the icing out of the bag and keep it up above the surface and let it drop. So I'm squeezing, I'm making a little trail, and then just letting it lie down beside. I'm not dragging it along like this. I'm squeezing, lifting, and dropping, and letting it drop. Okay, so let's give this a try. I'm gonna start here and pull toward me. And you just go as slow as you need to. Just let the icing drop to the cookie from up above. I think it's time to turn the cookie. And let's keep going. Now, if you think that you've made a mess, you can use this tool. It has a sharp point at the bottom and a paddle at the other end, and you can just clean up your mistake. Just like that. You can wipe it off. And over here I have a little bump in my frosting. I just kind of smooth it out and keep going. So that's what you use that tool for. So I'm just going to continue around the edge. To make the outline. I'm going to set this one aside and let it dry just a little bit, and then we're going to fill the middle with the icing. So let's move on to the pumpkin. Now I'm going to decorate the pumpkin so that it has room for me to add a stem, and I'm not gonna decorate this part right here of the cookie, this area. I'm just gonna kind of go around. And we're gonna go back and we're gonna outline it, and then we're gonna add the sections to it before we add the fill. So that way it'll give it a little bit more dimension. So once again, we're gonna check this bag for the seam. We're gonna follow it down to the end, and there's just an itty bitty spot there that doesn't have the frosting in it, and I'm just gonna take off a tiny bit. We're gonna make sure that our color comes out in a size that we can manage, and I'm going to outline the pumpkin. Now, I've done this a few times, so you go at the speed that you think you need to work at, and it'll be totally fine. So next, I'm going to draw in some segments. So I might just do one here. Add a little curve to it, make it look round. Add a little curve to this one, make it look round. There we go. So that's all it takes. We're gonna do that. Okay, let's go back to our leaf and let this one dry for a second. So here's our leaf. I'm gonna go back to the green. And the best way to do this is to color it in small segments. So I'm just gonna make a little line across the top of the leaf, and I'm just gonna fill in this upper segment. So I'm just gonna let it fill up a little bit. Those side lines are gonna hold the frosting in place. Just squeeze out a little bit and move it around with the tip. If you want, you can kind of fill it up like a puddle and then go back and use the little stick to kind of fill things in. Take out any bubbles that you might have. And just fill it in. It's kind of like coloring in a coloring book. So now I'm just going to keep going down, filling in another section. Now, if you need to clean off the tip of your bag, just use your napkin or your paper towel. Don't worry about frosting. You have plenty to finish this cookie and so much more. So if you need to do a little tasting, there's enough. If you feel like you need to practice, there's enough. This is just a royal icing, so it will firm up and be hard once the cookie frosting dries. If you can wait that long to eat it. It smells delicious. There it is. I'm going to set it aside to dry, and I'm going to move on to the pumpkin. Okay, let's decorate the rest of the pumpkin. We're going to decorate it in segments. This will kind of make it have a little bit of a raised look, so the pumpkin has some dimension. You can go back and forth the long way with the frosting. You can jiggle it side to side, whatever feels comfortable. gonna let these dry for a few minutes so that we can add more decorations on top of the frosting while it's firmed up. All right, I've been waiting for this to dry, and you may notice the frosting that was here is gone because I ate it. It tastes good. It reminds me of those little dot candies from when I was a kid, the ones that are on a sheet of paper and there's all those little dots. It's the same thing, it's royal icing. Okay, so now we have our cookies. They're a little bit firmer on the top. I'm gonna start with the leaf. I'm gonna give it some veins. So I'm just going to clean off my tip before I get started. Just gonna go down the middle, again, holding it in the air and just kind of letting it drop. So, let's get this up a little closer. And then I'm going to do the same thing, go from the middle out. Oops, that one broke. Don't care. Nature's not perfect, and neither am I. Like that. I'm gonna turn it around because I'd rather work in this direction. So we're gonna do this here. And if it's important to you to fix that one, you can, but it's really not that big a deal. So there we go. That would be the leaf. Okay, then we're gonna go back to the pumpkin. I'm gonna just pipe in some of those lines again. Mine kind of settled away, but I like the way they look. So I'm just gonna go back and add some lines to show the segment of the pumpkins. Just the same thing, I'm just stringing it out, letting it drop. Get off my tip. All right, last step. We are going to decorate the stem and add some vines. So the stem, I'm just gonna give it some, off the tip. Just gonna be a little free form and kind of do kind of like a little back and forth, kind of artsy looking stem. And then I am going to make some swirls. Now this is where you gotta let it drop. Be okay with the whole free form thing. And there you go. There are my cookies. The best part about them, it doesn't matter how beautiful they turn out, they will taste even more delicious. So thanks again for coming out to our fall festival. It was the first time we did a drive-through, a little bit different than what we normally do, but it was a great time for everyone. Enjoy your cookies.